Hello, personal project students. We've got a lot to go over today. I am sorry I'm skipping out on you. I needed to take some time. So, I've got a list of stuff in front of me that I need to go over for you. I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 to 15 minutes because YouTube cuts it off after 15. So I'm really going to try to keep this down, but I have a list of stuff that I need to go through so that we can all get caught up, because I know there were some people that were behind, some people were caught up. So this week was sort of like a strange catch-up week, and I'd like to let everybody know where you stand in the class right now. So I want to let you know that due on Monday is going to be the refining ideas slides, the final topic slide, and the specification slides. So let's look at Schoology first, and in the folder today, you'll notice that I say that it's work time in Evidence Journal up to slide number 51. So it doesn't mean that you have to be finished with, I would like you to be finished with it, but you don't have to be finished with it today. You have all of Monday to work on it as well. And we need to keep in communication about your projects. My main thing is I was supposed to have everybody today, Friday, in class, share out your idea to the class. So obviously I'm not there. Monday we're going to do that. So when you come to class on Monday, be prepared to share to the entire class what your idea for the personal project is, and then we're going to get rolling on making sure that everybody's evidence journals are all caught up and that you're working on getting done what needs to be done. So I'm going to pull up first the evidence journal, and I'm going to just slide on down here. This was this week's journal. So where we last kind of left off was specifications. So we talked about these specifications. You filled in prior learning and refining ideas. If you have not done that yet, today is a great place to start. These are just basic slides, giving me ideas for your project, telling me what you already know about this, and try to be as specific as possible, because if you're not, I'm going to come back and say you need to be more specific. So just try to be specific now so that I don't have to ask you later. And then the criteria specifications for your project are here. This side here is the student design criteria, is what will it look like, and then how will I know it works? That's the test or method of evaluation, is how will I know that works? Are you going to how much will your project cost to make? So how will I know if I'm successful in that? Is that I stay in budget. So tell me what the price is, and then say stay in budget. That's a way to design how you're going to evaluate yourself. All right, so then this week we kind of were everywhere with our thinking. So just put in a little bit of information in your evidence journal. I'm sorry, I keep saying process journal. Put evidence journal in there, just whatever you can this week, because I am going to look at that when I go to grade next week. We're going to try to get back on track with grading. I'm going to show you my newly revised calendar, so that you all can be more clear on when things are due now that we're starting to roll into the personal project. So this week, you're going to be rolling into this final topic and goal if you haven't started it already. Today and Monday, you can work on this too. I would like it to be done Tuesday. You're telling me, Monday you've got to share with the class anyway, so this is like the perfect slide to fill out before you share with the class, because then you can just read off from this slide, because you're going to have to tell the class what your goal and your global context are anyway. The next slide here is the parent-guardian agreement. So I need you all to have this on the horizon for yourselves. Your parent needs to look at this, and you're gonna type in a clear description of your project. You can even copy in some of the information that you already had in this slide and put it in there. And then any challenges that you or your parent thinks you might have. And then a signature, digital signature from your parent, and a digital signature from you, and a date. There we go. Sorry, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So I need this by next Tuesday as well. So a lot of stuff due on Tuesday. Just be aware of that. I'll give you work time. I'm giving it to you today and Monday to do this. But it's all due Tuesday. I've got to know if your parents agree with this and they're all good to go. I want you to talk about the next part. I'm sorry, that we're moving into is research. So we talked about research in the library, and now this is kind of the next step. So I don't expect you to start researching today because you've got to do all these other slides here. But the research is really where some people get caught up in their project and they take way too long. They get nervous or defeated. Make an appointment with the librarians. I cannot stress to you all enough how awesome it is to have Miss Colby and Miss Warren there, because they are so supportive during the project. Seriously. So take advantage of the Meet with the Librarians link. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can come over here and go to our course materials folder. This has basically everything that you need for the course. And if you go down to, where is it? Meet with a Librarian link, it will bring you to this, and then you just sign up and you let us know MYP personal project. That's what you're doing. They'll ask you questions about your personal project so that they can help you with your project. So that's where the Meet with the Librarian link is. Let's get back here. So with the research, we'll talk more about this on Monday and Tuesday as well, but now is going to be time to work on your research for your project. So you've got to have a varied amount of sources. You have to use the school resources. You can't just use the internet. So even if you have a project that you think has, they don't have it at school, I don't have a book for it, I'm sure they do. Like I said, make an appointment with them and they will help you figure out things that you never even thought of. However, some of you, the research might be heavier in YouTube videos, or maybe you have like a Discord that you're part of, like a certain group, and they all do projects that you want to do. So you have a conversation with these people who have done it, maybe like experts or whatever, or friends, and then you record that conversation, or transcribe it, or however you do it, copy it, and then that's part of your research too, right? So like interviews, those are like that's right on the list there. Reddit and Discord, anything like that, YouTube videos. It's not only books and the internet. So get out there and interview experts in our community. Some of you, I've already told you, pointed you in the right direction of someone who might be able to help you. And if I don't know anyone who can help you, Ms. Warren and Ms. Colby sure do. And sometimes if you're really desperate for help, we can put out a call to all the personal project teachers, and usually somebody is able to help. So don't give up on this research part. Have fun with it. The goal in research is to equip yourself with all the knowledge that you need for your project. So don't jump into your project yet, okay? We're still not there. We've got to evaluate all the resources that we get. So you got to have these primary resources. So it says source 1, source 2, and source 3. So you have to have 3 resources. That is the bare minimum for your project. However, you need to do an OPCVL for all of the major resources that you use. If you use like a bunch of YouTube videos from the same person, just make sure that you document, like you still have to document all of those videos separately. That's a big question that people ask. And yes, you need to document every single video separately, but you don't have to OPCVL every single one of that person's videos. It's just if you're going to use a new person's resources, you're going to want to evaluate if the resource is worth it, okay? This is your actual bibliography, so it needs to be done in MLA. This is where you're going to paste it. So as you're gathering resources, you'll use this area to put them all in. And then here, once you're finished with your research, this is a place to reflect on your research. And then I have pasted in for you, most of you that I have met with, I've pasted in this academic honesty meeting number 1 slide, because we've actually, all of us have already completed our first meeting together, which is awesome. And so what I did was type in there some of the things that we talked about. And then I left space for you to put anything else that I missed because I may have forgotten along the way. I totally forgot we had to do these slides. I'm going to be real with you. And so I remembered it and I was like, oh my gosh, I've gotten through almost all my meetings and didn't use these slides. So if there's something that I type in there and you're like, oh, well, we talked about this too, but she didn't put that in there, you can type it in there. I sign it and date it for you. And the date might not even be right either. I'm guessing on what days we met at this point. And then we'll start next week there. So up to slide 51 is what you're working on. It does not mean that it has to be done, but I would like you to get up to this one done by Monday so that you can present your topic to people on Monday. And then the parent agreements and the research ATL skills are going to be due on Tuesday, and then we'll have next week to research. So speaking of like scheduling, I made a calendar for us. We are here. This is the 30th. I had a bunch of stuff to introduce to you today. So let's look at November. Next week on Monday, you'll be finishing up all this stuff that I showed you today and working on research. And it says, or academic honesty meeting number 1. That is because some of you I have not met with, I need to meet with. Tuesday, we don't have school. I didn't mean to do that. Wednesday and Thursday, you're off. And Friday, you'll come back and do more research. So I'm going to introduce the written account on November 9th, which is not long from now. So you only have 2 days that we're actually meeting next week. We're only meeting on Monday and Friday. So that means you only have 2 times to work on research. But if you're behind, I would suggest working on your research on Thursday during advisory time if you can. Because there might be more research required for your project that you're just not able to complete in the times that we meet. The following week, like I said, I'm going to introduce the written account, and you have the option to work on writing the written account and or doing research, because all the research and the written account are due on November 16th. So that's really only like 2 weeks from now. So you've got to do as much research as you can for your project. That's why I said please schedule with a librarian, because they said they're booked out, so they might not even have any appointments next week. So you might have to wait until the following week. That means you're going to have to do some research on your own while you're waiting to get with them. Of course, if you have trouble getting in with them, you can absolutely have extended due dates for the rough draft. But I have a goal of the 16th that the written account criterion A will be turned in. And that's pretty easy to do because all that is just the pink slides here. So that's that. Yep, right here. So that's all 3. That's what I ask with a written account criterion A. It gives you the rubric in there for that week, the 13th. Yep, so that's the week that I introduce it. And yeah. All right, so we're going to go forward, and I want to just go through this calendar a little bit more, and you can feel free to open it yourself. I'm going to show you where it is. That's a good idea. Again, in the course materials folder, and it is under, it's actually right at the very top, Tabor Personal Project Calendar. That's where it is. Let me make sure it is shared with everyone. Awesome. All right. I have really colorful slides for important dates. This is the most important date here. This is the day that you will actually really start working on making the final product for your project, or if you're doing like a challenge for yourself, that's the day that you would start the challenge. So that's really before we go on winter break. You want to be started on your actual making or doing of your personal project. Because as we go into January, you're going to have January, a lot of work time on your personal project. And February, you'll have the first 3 weeks, because at the end of the 3rd week, your project should be about finished. So that's a big date. It's criterion C needs to be written at that point. And then you're looking at when I'm introducing Criterion D here on Monday, March 1st, that week is when you want to be finished up with your project. So like the last week of February, first week of March. So you get a substantial chunk of time to work on just your project. This may be different than other personal project classes. I've decided to change it because that's what I feel comfortable with giving you. I want to give you a lot of time to do it. And I want to give myself the right amount of time for all these grades. And then the next big due date is in the red because that is a huge due date. That is when everything is absolutely has to be done. The written account needs to be submitted. It's right before spring break. I have to have all written accounts by spring break. Any late arrangements, that's why I give spring break as a buffer so that I can grade. And then if any students really are having difficulties or something happened in their project, they have just a little bit more time. And then we are going to prepare for presentations. I'm going to feel everybody out. We're going to do a week of preparing for presentations when we come back from spring break. And then I'm going to give a few weeks out. So we'll just do 2 or 3 presentations at a time. We won't do anything wild or overload you. And we'll just kind of schedule them in class and share throughout that time. I'm excited about that. I think that'll be a really fun thing to do. It will be low pressure. It's just basically you sharing with your class a detailed, account of how you did your project, which is you spent a lot of time on it. Okay, moving on. I am supposed to go over criterion grading with you. So I keep saying all these things, criterion grading. So let's take a look at this. What does assessment look like in the personal project? So there's 4 criterion. We are in A right now, which is the investigation phase. The taking action phase is when you're actually doing and making your project. And then the planning, obviously you plan for it. And then reflecting is reflecting afterwards, making any adjustments, grading yourself. These are our achievement descriptors here. So 1 being the most limited and 8 being the most excellent. And here is a more detailed description of those. And I will pause here quickly to show you where this is in here. So again, it's in the course materials folder. It is the great criterion grading lesson. So if you want to get a better view of this and stop and actually read these, I'm just going to briefly show you each of them. I think that if you really want to go into detail about it, I don't have to read them to you. You can pause it and read it yourself, or you can pull up the presentation. All right. So rubrics are used to communicate objectives, structure your feedback, and determine your achievement levels for a class. So this is a pass or fail class. I believe you have to have a 2 to pass. So maybe a 3. I think it's a 2 that you have to pass this. It kind of depends on the numbers, so it adds up at the end. So depending on what grade you get in each criterion, that's what your final grade will be based on, what the number is. So here is criterion A rubric. There is criterion B rubric, which has to do with the planning. C is the action phase, and D is the reflecting phase. So there's 2 types of assessment. Formative is just giving feedback, and it's not used to determine the final score. And summative is the actual final score, final type of grade. So this is a little bit different because Mr. Newell made this, and I changed some of the dates depending on what was going on. But you can see where things are graded at. So I'll tell you if I'm giving you a formative, I'm just going to be giving you a formative grade, whether I'm going to give you a number on there. So if I give you a number to grade, I'll tell you your number's in there. You can go look at it, but I'll also tell you your number when I give you feedback in your evidence journal or in our check-ins. So this is the final grade table. Here it is. So if you get a 0 through 9 on the calculated final grade, you will fail. So you have to have a 10 to pass. So I believe that means, you add all the numbers up. So say you only get a 1 in each one, that's a 4, you're going to fail. If you get a 2 in each one, you're going to fail. So you got to get at least a 3 in one of them to pass. All right, and that is criterion grading. I think I'm done. I hope I kept this under 15 minutes. We'll see when I stop in a moment, but there's lots of information here. I know it. Take your time on this. Get in your evidence journal and know that you, even though it says slide 51, you're not going to be able to complete all this research stuff yet. You can just start it if you want to. All these things here. The farthest I really need you to get is a final topic goal by Monday, and make sure your parents are signing off by Tuesday. Have an awesome weekend, everybody, and go do something nice for yourself. Bye.